Hi friends, welcome to Parent Cafe Live. Today we're going to be talking about how to explore your neighborhood. And this is really cool to do during the summer because as it gets warmer and our kids are outside more, we want to be able to trust that they know where they're going when they're outside. Getting to know our neighbors would be really awesome because the more we know our neighbors, the more they're looking out for our kids as well. It's really good to teach kids spatial awareness, and every walk can be turned into some sort of game. So it can be turned into a scavenger hunt or a nature walk where you also can include a scavenger hunt. You can add art and things into it. You can use books and poetry. There's a lot of things depending on what your and your family's interests are on how you can frame a walk, and it's just good for you, right? So it's a great excuse to let yourself have a little fun while you're getting in something that's good for you. So one thing that's really cool is there's lots and lots and lots and lots of free resources. So I always talk about Etsy, Pinterest, and Teachers Pay Teachers. So I found this cool one on Teachers Pay Teachers, and I always do a search and then I click the free as one of my filters because I want to see what I can get that I don't have to recreate. And even though they're simple, they're not super complicated. But this is a nature journal observation sheet that I got, and this one's actually from California State Parks, so it's actually from their website, but there's lots of fun ones on Teachers Pay Teachers, different things for scavenger hunts, and they'll have like nature scavenger hunts, bug scavenger hunts, flower scavenger hunts, anything. You can also sit down and predict what you might find on your nature walk and list those out, and then come see if you found those when you were on your nature walk. And you can bring the sheet or record it when you get home. This nature journal observation sheet is describe the weather, what do you see around you, what do you hear, what do you smell. So experiencing all of our senses is really cool, and it gets kids used to being mindful about where they're at, which is really great for spatial awareness and just aware of what's surrounding them so that they can find their way home, so they can describe where somebody maybe got lost or hurt, or they know which neighbor's house they're at, just lots of things like that. So it's a big thing for safety, so you can teach them your neighborhood without them knowing it's like a safety seminar, right? You can do like an ongoing journal about the neighborhood with these sight, smells, what's the weather, how'd they make you feel. I found this sheet, so this is another website. I will have to post the link because none of this is like stuff I created. But the headline is Exploring Nature in Your Neighborhood, Activities for Kids and Families. So that was the name of the article that I found. So they had like who eats what. So that's pretty cool, especially if you go out at certain times. So you can do stuff during the daylight, and then you move up to the sky and you can start doing birds and things like that. And then it's cool to do a night one, like astronomy, you guys. Like, what kid doesn't love to look up at the stars? Or during the day, look up at the clouds and talk about the weather and what those clouds are and what they mean. And there's so many fun books out there and websites and free resources that you don't have to spend a lot of money to teach your kids. Lots of fun articles, YouTube videos, Bill Nye, the science guy. So I remember that show when I was a kid. He's still posting all sorts of cool videos and things for science experiments. If you're on Teachers Pay Teachers, they have some lesson plans that go along with those videos, different videos. So that's always cool to use. The reason we want to keep teaching our kids in the summertime, so I'm going to talk about this a lot in the next videos, is the summer gap. So during the summer months, kids often don't retain all of the information that they learned in the previous school year. So that's literacy, math skills, sciences, things like that. So we want to keep their brain engaged and find different ways so it's like a stress-free learning environment. So school is stressful. It was really stressful this year. Some kids were still remote learning. There was times when all the schools shut down and every kid was remote learning. school, if you were in on a campus, like there was a lot of limitations put on kids. So it was stressful. It was just a very different kind of year than it has ever been in the past. And I have a kindergartner, and I don't think he had a horrible year, but I do think he's had some extra struggles because of the limitations with like social distancing and stuff like that. It was great that he didn't get sick all year long. He never even got a cold because of all the hand washing and the sanitizer and the masks and social distancing and things. But kids play together, and there's a lot of interaction and touch, and it seems like he didn't always know what to do when he had like the proximity of people. Like he had some altercations that I don't think maybe would have happened if he had had a regular year where he would have learned some of those things earlier on. Who knows? But keep learning during the summer is like the main thing I'm going to be talking about, and helping you guys find ways to do that. So getting to know your neighborhood is just a part of being a good human, right? So there's some things like I've gotten set in my ways. My husband and I are kind of introverts, and so we're not really the proactive people to go meet all of our neighbors. We tend to have a lot of extroverted neighbors that come meet us, which is nice. But forcing our child to properly become a good neighbor, like it's making us do things that we don't always do. And it's funny because as a kid, I wasn't like shy with my neighbors, my adult neighbors anyways. I had little friends that there was a little lady next door that I would go sit, and she'd give me a piece of candy and we'd talk on her deck. And when she passed away, I got the little like bistro table and stuff that she and I sat at all the time. So my mom had kept that for me for a long time, and I still have it. So those are like just good memories. Like my son goes and visits the neighbor lady and shares new toys and things. And we're teaching him like when you can do that, how to do it, and to be respectful. How to not make a lot of noise when you're in the neighborhood, like after hours. Like you want to be respectful. You don't want to walk on people's grass. We wave to our neighbors. We say hi to our neighbors. We, dust off their sidewalks or plow their sidewalks, especially if we're running our, four-wheeler and we have that ability to help. And plenty of people have helped us and done that for us. So it's really nice to pay it forward. Just looking at all of those things to be a good neighbor, and how kindness can affect your neighborhood and your community. And this website, let's see, Scholastic had a lot of stuff while I was researching these next videos. And they have a whole thing about being a good neighbor. And they even had like a list on things you could do. So random acts of kindness to make your day. So you could add things like this to a bucket list. But like things like baking, taking treats over, asking to walk their dog, cooking for them if maybe they're ill or they just had a new baby. Just putting yourself out there and helping out where you can is really all it is. But that's kind of cool. You could add these to a bucket list. If you go to PBS Kids, so they have an app as well, but you can go to the website. So Daniel Tiger is really a spin-off. You'll hear the tune. So it's built after Mr. Rogers. And there's lots of cute social emotional lessons and things about being a good neighbor. And those, if you're going to like let your kid watch cartoons, let them watch educational ones, right? And they always have activities and things that go along with that, and games and printables. And we have several Daniel Tiger books at our house, which are just really cute little stories that have given my son some tools. So anytime like we've given him screen time, he's getting more where he chooses some of his stuff. But earlier on in his toddler stages, we picked everything and it was always educational. And he's gotten a lot of cool stuff. It's funny because some of them he's revisiting now. He forgot he ever watched because he was, 2 or 3. And he likes them still now. They have the Super Y on PBS Kids. There's several shows. And Word Girl. But Super Y explores like these stories, and it's about reading and you find words. And I don't know. It's just a cool way to learn. They don't even realize they're learning. Being a good neighbor is important, right? Finding ways to interact with your kids important. Finding ways to get in some healthy things. Another reason to know your neighborhood is, the safety factor. If you get involved in your community and people know you, it really reduces the risk of something happening to your child if all hands and eyes are on them. And let's just say there was somebody in your neighborhood that was a threat or was a danger and you wouldn't know it. They might not act upon it. Like, it's just good to know who everybody is, to know if somebody belongs there or not. I had some friends with their kids, and there was somebody kind of creeping / stalking around all the kids when they were out, and the kids hadn't told any adults for like 3 months. And they finally did one night, and so now like everybody's on alert for this. So teaching our kids to come talk to us about that, giving them the words and what that looks like. Stranger danger is still a big thing. I know my son just got that educated in class, but it is important to reiterate it over and over and over again, especially while they're young, because I feel like my kid is so social and he's not really afraid to talk to grown-ups. Like, I would hate for him to ever talk to the wrong one and like not pick up on that there is some stranger danger there, because he is just so friendly and outgoing, and it's really good to talk about that. It also gives them some freedom and independence. So if you know like where boundaries are in your neighborhood, like where they can ride their bike to on their own, ours is pretty much just up and down the same street. Like, you can't turn corners or do anything yet. That's not just because of like stranger danger. That is also because he loses track of space, time, all those things. So, every kid's going to be different on where you can give them some independence and things, but it helps to let them know all of these things. Another cool activity you can do is you could create a map. So I'm pretty sure I saw this one on PBS Kids, but they made a map of their neighborhood, and the activity, it talks you through it, but basically you just need marker, crayons, or whatever you're going to use, and a big sheet of paper, and you would go kind of scope out. You could maybe make some notes as you walk, or maybe have a scrap sheet where you start to kind of pencil out what that map would look like, and then you help them make the map when you go home. It's just another way for them to like have recall and retention and comprehension of where everything is, right? So don't be afraid to have fun with it. Like, none of this has to be like long, boring things. Like, my kid would think us going to make a treasure map or something was super cool. Like, we're going to go map out the neighborhood so we can go hide some treasure. And maybe it's our rock treasures. So we paint rocks and we can go hide those and go put them in people's, little rock gardens. Because there's a lot of those pretty close to the street where I don't have to like go into people's yards and do any of that. Just have fun with it. Don't be afraid to explore your neighborhood, find ways to build recall and retention of where things are at, help your kid learn how to be a good neighbor, respectful neighbor. If you guys are all shy or you don't want to go out and meet everybody, like, that's okay too. Everybody's comfort level is going to be different, but being respectful, like, we can do that regardless, right? So teaching them how to do that, because there's a lot of kids that don't learn that, or do, and that's still hard pressed. So as they become teens and they have a lot of independence, if we haven't built some good framework, just more likely that they're going to get in trouble more often, and we don't want that. So you might not, like, it's hard, like, these are things that you might not think we need to teach our kids. Like, you don't think about it because we take for granted that they're going to know these things, or that they should know them because we've driven around this. But kids aren't really like paying close attention all the time. So we need to find ways to help zone in their attention, and so they can recognize and problem solve and think critically about what we're asking them. And then we have a little peace of mind. And it's just kind of amazing to spend time with your kid and explore things. Again, please go find like things that already exist. You don't have to. You can go buy a cute little notebook and just prompt things. You know, some kids are really imaginative and they don't need prompts, and that's awesome. If they do need prompts, I don't think it's that hard to find them. Like that one nature observation was really easy. Describe the weather. What do you see around you? What do you hear? What do you smell? So explore the senses. Explore the differences in yards, fences, colors of houses, things like that. Shapes, the different trees. Like I love that our trees are like the biggest trees on our block, and I don't know why, if it's just because, but they're different than most everybody else's trees. And like as spring emerges, like we always go look at the buds and then the flowers when they come out and then the full leaves, and then in the fall when they change. And that's just something we get to like help explore that like life cycle. And it's a good reference point for other things as we teach him and he's curious about. So I hope today's video was helpful to you, or inspired you, or just got you excited to go have a walk. Enjoy time with your kids. Stay cool in this warm weather, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Please share, like, click the notification bell if you haven't already so you get updates of any new uploads. Thanks, guys.